Good evening and welcome to the annual reorganization meeting for the Township of Monroe, January 6, 2025. This meeting is called pursuant to the provisions of the Open Public Meetings Law. This meeting of January 6, 2025 was included in a list of meetings notice sent to the official publications for the Township of Monroe, posted on the Township's website and on the bulletin board in the municipal building, and has remained continuously posted as the required notices under the statute. In addition, a copy of this notice is and has been available to the public and is on file in the office of the municipal clerk. Please note a sign-in sheet has been placed in the rear of the courtroom. If anyone would like to address council during the public portion, please sign in and raise your hand and you will be asked to come forward to the microphone. Kindly state your name and address for the record. In addition, please note that audio and video of this meeting is being recorded in accordance with Ordinance 056-2024. A copy of this recording will be posted on the Township's website for the public to view at their convenience.
Honor guard, post colors.
Yeah. Yeah.
Please remain standing for the salute to the flag led by Councilwoman Denise Adams, and remain standing for the invocation by Gloucester County Commissioner Deputy Director Jim Jefferson.
I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Can we bow our heads for a word of prayer? Dear Heavenly Father, we thank you and we praise you for who you are. God, we're thankful to be in this great country where we can gather openly and freely. But God, an invocation is a calling and invoking your presence here in this place. God, we just don't want this to be a meeting, but we want your presence to set the tone for how we feel about our community. God, you are the tie that binds us all together, and I pray that the actions and the words spoken here today could be one of love and of community, that we would build each other up and not tear each other down with our words and our actions. So God, I pray you would be with the men and women that have stepped forward to serve this great town. I pray that you would guide their hearts and their minds to do what's best for their community members. God, please let us remember the first responders, the men and women of the Monroe Township Police Department. Lord, our earnest prayers to keep them safe. And may by our words and our actions, may they feel our appreciation for what they do. God, be with this evening, be with the procedures up tonight, and God, keep us all safe. We pray all these things in your name. Amen.
Amen.
You may be seated, and we'll now start the swearing-in ceremony. Councilman-elect Al Rossi, please come forward with members of your family. The oath of office will be administered by Senator Paul D. Moriarty.
This is why he won the election. He has such a big family. Raise your right hand and repeat after me. I state your name.
I, Al Russell,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of New Jersey,
and the Constitution of the State of New Jersey,
and I will bear true faith
and I will bear true faith
and allegiance
and allegiance
to the same
to the same
and to the governments established
and to the governments established
in the United States
in the United States
and in this state
and in this state,
under the authority of the people.
under the authority of the people.
I do further solemnly swear
Further solemnly swear
that I will faithfully,
that I will faithfully,
justly,
justly,
and impartially
and impartially
perform all the duties
perform all the duties
of the office of councilman,
of the office of councilman,
Township of Monroe,
Township of Monroe,
to the best of my ability.
to the best of my ability,
So help me God.
so help me God.
Congratulations.
Councilwoman-elect Carol Ann Fox, please come forward with members of your family. The oath of office will be administered by Assemblyman Cody DeMello.
Raise your right hand and repeat after me. I state your name.
I, Carol Ann Fox,
Do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution
that I will support the Constitution
of the United
of
States
the United States
and the Constitution
and the Constitution
of the State of New Jersey,
of the State of New Jersey,
and that I will bear true faith
and I will bear true faith
and allegiance to the same of the governments established
and established
of the United States
of the United States
and in this state
and in this state
under the authority of the people,
under the authority of the people,
and that I will faithfully,
and I will faithfully,
impartially, and justly perform all of the duties
perform all the duties
associated with the office
associated with the office
of Councilperson Ward 2
of Councilperson Ward 2,
in the Township of Monroe,
Township of Monroe,
according to the best of my ability,
according to the best of my ability.
so help me God.
Councilman-elect Brian Cope, please come forward with members of your family. The oath of office will be administered by Mayor Gregory A. Wolf.
I state your name. Brian Cook. Do solemnly swear or affirm. Do solemnly swear. Do solemnly swear or affirm. That I support the Constitution. I will support the Constitution of the United States. The Constitution of the State of New Jersey. The State of New Jersey. And I will bear true faith. I will bear true faith. And allegiance to the same. And allegiance to the same. To the government established. The government established. In the United States. In the United States. In the States. Under the authority of the people. Under the authority of the people. Faithful. Impartially, and justly, perform all the duties of councilman, for the Township of Monroe, that's my ability. That's my ability, so help me God.
Councilman-elect John Valentine, please come forward with members of your family. The oath of office will be administered by Gloucester County Commissioner Nicholas DeSalvio.
I state your name, John Allen. You solemnly swear that I will support the Constitution of the United States, the Constitution of the United States, and the Constitution of the State of New Jersey, and the Constitution of the State of New Jersey, and I will bear true faith and allegiance to the same, to the governments established in the United States, and in this state, under the authority of the people, and that I will faithfully, impartially, and justly perform all the duties of Ward 4 council person, to the best of my ability, so help me God. Congratulations.
I'm tired of calling.
Right. Six. Forward. One.
Okay, we will now have roll call. Councilwoman Adams. Here. Councilman Cope.
Here.
Councilwoman Fox. Here. Councilman Heverly.
Here.
Councilman O'Reilly.
Here.
Councilman Rossi.
Here.
Councilman Valentine.
Here.
Mayor Wolf.
Here.
Deputy Mayor Kurz.
Here.
Solicitor Mr. Capelli.
Here.
Business Administrator Mr. Dehart.
Here.
Director of Code Enforcement Mr. Sebastian.
Here.
Director of Community Affairs Mrs. Park. Here. Director of Public Safety Mr. Rumpf.
Here.
Director of Public Works Mr. Dilks. Is excused. Director of Real Estate Ms. Pisotsky. Excused. Chief Financial Officer Ms. Boyer. Here. Deputy Police Chief McBride. And myself, Municipal Clerk Eileen Chiselko. Okay, we will now move forward with nominations and election of council president. Can I have a motion to open nominations for council president? Motion. Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Nominations. Mrs. Adams?
Yes, I nominate Don Heverly.
No second? Second. Any other nominations? Mr. Cope?
No. Yes.
You have a nomination?
Oh, no.
Mrs. Fox?
No nominations.
Mr. Heverly?
No nominations.
Mr. Riley?
No nominations.
Mr. Rossi?
No nominations.
Mr. Valentine?
No nominations.
Can I have a motion to close the nominations for council president?
Motion. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Roll call vote, this is a roll call vote on Councilman Donald Heverly as the Monroe Township Council President. Mrs. Adams?
Yes.
Mr. Cope?
Yes.
Mrs. Fox?
Yes.
Mr. Heverly?
Abstain.
Mr. O'Reilly?
Yes.
Mr. Rossi?
Yes.
Mr. Valentine?
Abstain.
Motion carries. Councilman Donald Heverly is now the Monroe Township Council President for 2025. Gloucester County Commissioner Deputy Director Jim Jefferson will now administer the oath of office to the newly elected council president. Would members of Councilman Donald Heverly's family please come forward?
Raise your right hand and repeat after me. I state your name. I, Don Heverly. Do solemnly swear. Do solemnly swear. That I will support the Constitution. That I will support the Constitution. Of the United States. Of the United States. And the Constitution. And the Constitution. Of the State of New Jersey. Of the State of New Jersey. I will bear true faith. I will bear true faith. And allegiance to the same. And allegiance to the same. And the governments established. And to the governments established. In the United States. In the United States. And in this state. And in this state. Under the authority of the people. Under the authority of the people. I will faithfully. I will faithfully. Impartially. And justly. And justly. Perform all the duties. Perform all the duties. Council President. As Council President. In Monroe Township. In Monroe Township. To the best of my ability. To the best of my ability. So help me God. Help me God. Amen.
At this time, I'd like to present Council President Heverly with the gavel that Mary Mazzarelli was donated in 2001 to all future council presidents.
Thank you very much.
I will now hand over the meeting to our new council president.
Thank you, everybody. Move on to nomination and election of Vice President of Council, swearing in of Vice President of Council. We will now move forward. Do I have a motion to open nominations for Council Vice President?
Motion. Second.
On favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Nominations.
Okay, nominations. Mrs. Adams, do you have a nomination?
No nomination.
Mr. Cope?
No nomination.
Mrs. Fox?
Yes, I'd like to nominate Denise Adams.
I'll second that.
Mr. Heverly?
No nominations.
Mr. O'Reilly?
No nominations.
Mr. Rossi?
No nominations.
Mr. Valentine?
No nominations.
Motion to close nomination,
Motion to close nomination for Vice President.
Motion. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Roll call vote for Council President.
this is a roll call vote.
Vice President. Vice President.
This is a roll call vote on Councilwoman Denise Adams as the Monroe Township Council Vice President. Mrs. Adams?
Yes.
Mr. Cope?
Yes.
Mrs. Fox?
Yes.
Mr. Heverly?
Yes.
Mr. O'Reilly?
Yes.
Mr. Rossi?
Yes.
Mr. Valentine? Motion carries.
Council Patterson is now Vice President of Council. Oath of office to Council Vice President will now be administered the oath of office, newly elected, and, quote, Dan Hutchinson will be swearing her in, Assemblyman Hutchinson. For her family, please escort her to the front.
That's it right there.
I state your name.
I, Keith Allen,
Do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution
that I will support the Constitution
of the United States
of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of New Jersey,
and the Constitution of the State of New Jersey,
that I will bear true faith and allegiance
that I will bear true faith and allegiance
to the same
to the same
and to the governments established in the United States
established in the United States
and in this state,
and in this state,
under the authority of the people,
under the authority of the people,
and that I will faithfully,
and that I will faithfully,
impartially,
impartially,
and justly perform
and justly perform
all the duties of Council Vice President
all the duties of Council Vice President
to the best of my ability.
to the best of my ability.
So help me God.
So help me God.
We will now take a short recess to allow families to take pictures with the newly elected officials. About a 10-minute break. Thank you.
Council President. At this time, I would like to make an appointment to the Director of Parks and Recreation, Mr. Joseph Bruno. Madam Clerk.
Okay, this is a roll call vote on the mayor's appointment of the Director of Parks and Recreation, which requires advice and consent of council. Mrs. Adams?
Yes.
Mr. Cope?
Yes.
Mrs. Fox? Yes. Mr. Heverly?
Yes.
Mr. O'Reilly?
Yes.
Mr. Rossi?
Yes.
Mr. Valentine?
Yes.
Motion carries.
At this time, for the Environmental Commission, I would appoint in the unexpired term, expiring 12/31/25, Ms. Elaine Moore Wright. In the unexpired term, expiring 12/31/25, Mr. Daniel Lavashki, and that will also be the open space seat. In the three-year term, expiring 12/31/27, Patricia Purdy, and that will be the chairperson of the Environmental Commission. Three-year term, expiring 12/31/27, Matthew Yerquest. The three-year term, expiring 12/31/27, Mr. Eric Footer. And the 12/31/27 three-year term expiring, this will also be the Planning Board position, Mr. Dan Kozak. The Library Board, the unexpired term expiring 12/31/25, Mr. Ronald Garbowski. The unexpired term expiring 12/31/26, Ms. Allison Munch. The five-year term expiring 12/31/29, Mr. John Polar. The mayor's proxy vote, a one-year term expiring 12/31/25, our business administrator, Mr. James Dehart. And that will be all advice and consent of council. Madam Clerk.
This is a roll call vote on the mayor's appointment to the Library Board, which requires advice and consent of council. Mrs. Adams?
Yes.
Mr. Cope?
Yes.
Mrs. Fox?
Yes.
Mr. Heverly?
Yes.
Mr. O'Reilly?
Yes.
Mr. Rossi?
Yes.
Mr. Valentine?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Madam Clerk, we're good on all those appointments?
Yes.
I'm sorry. Municipal Alliance Commission, the unexpired term of 12/31/25, Dacian McKell Miller. Unexpired term 12/31/26, Carl Golding. The three-year term expiring 12/31/27, Stephanie Dungy. The three-year term expiring 12/31/27, Stacy Eimer. The three-year term expiring 12/31/27, Melissa Quiles. That will also be the advice and consent of council.
This is a roll call vote on the mayor's appointments to the Municipal Alliance Commission, which requires advice and consent of council. Mrs. Adams?
Yes.
Mr. Cope?
Yes.
Mrs. Fox?
Yes.
Mr. Heverly?
Yes.
Mr. O'Reilly?
Yes.
Mr. Rossi?
Yes.
Mr. Valentine?
Yes.
Motion carries.
The Parks and Recs Commission appointments, unexpired term expiring 12/31/25, Kelly Biglin. The unexpired term expiring 12/31 of '28, Elaine Moore Wright. The 5-year term expiring 12/31 of '29, Deborah Palisano. The 5-year term expiring 12/31 of '29, Mr. Matthew Scardino. That will also be the advice and consent of council.
This is a roll call vote on the mayor's appointments to the Parks and Recreation Commission, which requires advice and consent of council. Mrs. Adams?
Yes.
Mr. Cope?
Yes.
Mrs. Fox?
Yes.
Mr. Heatherly?
Yes.
Mr. O'Reilly?
Yes.
Mr. Rossi?
Yes.
Mr. Valentine?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Planning Board appointments, the Class 2, Mr. Dan Kozak, 1-year term expiring 12/31 of '25. The Class 4, Timothy Brown, it's a 4-year term expiring 12/31 of '28. Class 4, Miss Sherry Kennedy, 4-year term expiring 12/31 of '28. And the alternate 1 position, Mr. Russ Young, it's a 2-year term expiring 12/31 of '26. For the Rent Leveling Board, Mr. Francis DeRocco, it's a 1-year term expiring 12/31 of '25, and I will need the advice and consent of council.
This is a roll call vote on the mayor's appointment to the Rent Leveling Board, which requires advice and consent of council. Mrs. Adams?
Yes.
Mr. Cope?
Yes.
Mrs. Fox?
Yes.
Mr. Heatherly?
Yes.
Mr. O'Reilly?
Yes.
Mr. Rossi?
Yes.
Mr. Valentine?
Yes.
Motion carries.
The appointments to the Senior Commission, Miss Judith Luminog, 3-year term expiring 12/31 of '27, and Miss Florence Showers, a 3-year term expiring 12/31 of '27. And that will conclude my appointments for this evening. Thank you.
Thank you.
At this time, could I have a motion to open public portion for resolutions scheduled this evening?
Motion? Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Anyone wishing to speak on resolutions scheduled this evening? Seeing none, do I have a motion to close public portion of resolutions?
Motion? Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Do I have a motion to bracket resolutions R:1-2025 through R:13-2025?
Motion? Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion to approve resolutions 1-2025 through resolution 13-2025.
Motion? Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it.
Can I abstain from R13?
I also need to abstain from R13.
I'm sorry, that was Mr. Rossi and Mr. Cope?
Yes.
Thank you.
Moving forward, I have a motion to open nominations for members of the boards and commission, resolution 14-2025 through resolution 29-2025.
Motion? Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Resolution 14-2025, a resolution appointing member of the Monroe Township of Board of Health for a 3-year term. Motion to approve.
Motion?
Second.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Okay, nominations. Mrs. Adams, you have a nomination?
Yes. Stephanie Dungy? Second?
Any other nominations? Mr. Cope?
No nomination.
Mrs. Fox?
No nominations?
Mr. Heatherly?
No nominations.
Mr. O'Reilly?
No nominations.
Mr. Rossi?
No nominations.
Mr. Valentine?
No nomination.
Okay.
Motion to close.
Motion? Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it. Roll call.
This is a roll call vote on Stephanie Dungy as a member to the Monroe Township Board of Health for a 3-year term. Mrs. Adams?
Yes.
Mr. Cope?
Yes.
Mrs. Fox?
Yes.
Mr. Heatherly?
Yes.
Mr. O'Reilly?
Yes.
Mr. Rossi?
Yes.
Mr. Valentine?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Resolution 15-2025, a resolution appointing member of the Monroe Township Board of Health to a 3-year term. Motion to approve.
Motion? Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Nomination.
Mrs. Adams, do you have a nomination?
Yes. Carl Golding? Second?
Any other nominations? Mr. Cope?
No nominations.
Mrs. Fox?
No nominations.
Mr. Heberly?
No nominations.
Mr. O'Reilly?
No nominations.
Mr. Rossi?
No nominations.
Mr. Valentine?
No nominations.
Motion to close nominations.
Motion. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Roll call.
This is a roll call vote on Carl Golding as a member of the Monroe Township Board of Health for a 3-year term. Mrs. Adams?
Yes.
Mr. Cope?
Yes.
Mrs. Fox?
Yes.
Mr. Heberly?
Yes.
Mr. O'Reilly?
Yes.
Mr. Rossi?
Yes.
Mr. Valentine?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Resolution 16-2025, resolution appointing member to the Monroe Township Board of Health, 3-year term. Motion to approve.
Motion. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Okay, nominations, Mrs. Adams?
No nominations.
Mr. Cope?
No nominations.
Mrs. Fox?
No nominations.
Mr. Heberly?
No nominations.
Mr. O'Reilly?
No nominations.
Mr. Rossi?
No nominations.
Mr. Valentine?
No nominations.
Motion to close.
Motion. Second.
Resolution 17-2025, resolution appointing member to the Monroe Township Economic Development Commission, unexpired term. Motion to approve.
Motion. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Nomination.
Okay, Mrs. Adams, nomination?
Yes, I would like to nominate Dominic Calavita. Second.
Any other nominations, Mr. Cope?
No nominations.
Mrs. Fox?
No nominations.
Mr. Heberly?
No nominations.
Mr. O'Reilly?
No nominations.
Mr. Rossi?
No nominations.
Mr. Valentine?
No nomination.
Okay, this is a roll call vote on Dominic Calavita as a member to the Monroe Township Economic Development Commission for an unexpired term. Mrs. Adams?
Yes.
Mr. Cope?
Yes.
Mrs. Fox?
Yes.
Mr. Heberly?
Yes.
Mr. O'Reilly?
Yes.
Mr. Rossi?
Yes.
Mr. Valentine?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Resolution 18-2025, resolution appointing member to the Monroe Township Economic Development Commission, unexpired term. Motion to approve.
Motion. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Nomination.
Mrs. Adams, you have a nomination?
Yes, Linda DeSantis. Second.
Any other nominations, Mr. Cope?
No nominations.
Mrs. Fox?
No nominations.
Mr. Heberly?
No nominations.
Mr. O'Reilly?
No nominations.
Mr. Rossi?
No nominations.
Mr. Valentine?
No nominations.
Motion to close. Nominations.
Motion. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
This is a roll call vote on Linda DeSantis as a member to the Monroe Township Economic Development Commission for an unexpired term. Mrs. Adams?
Yes.
Mr. Cope?
Yes.
Mrs. Fox?
Yes.
Mr. Heberly?
Yes.
Mr. O'Reilly?
Yes.
Mr. Rossi?
Yes.
Mr. Valentine?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Resolution 19-2025, resolution appointing member to the Monroe Township Economic Development Commission, 3-year term. Motion to approve.
Motion. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Nominations.
Nominations, Mrs. Adams?
Yes, I'd like to nominate Christina Houghton. Second.
Any other nominations, Mr. Cope?
No nominations.
Mrs. Fox?
No nominations.
Mr. Heberly?
No nominations.
Mr. O'Reilly?
No nominations.
Mr. Rossi?
No nominations.
Mr. Valentine?
No nominations.
Do I have a motion to close nominations?
Motion. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
This is a roll call vote on Christina Houghton as a member to the Monroe Township Economic Development Commission for a 3-year term. Mrs. Adams?
Yes.
Mr. Cope?
Yes.
Mrs. Fox?
Yes.
Mr. Heberly?
Yes.
Mr. O'Reilly?
Yes.
Mr. Rossi?
Yes.
Mr. Valentine?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Resolution 20-2025, resolution appointing member to the Monroe Township Economic Development Commission for a 3-year term. Do I have a motion to approve?
Motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it.
Okay, nomination, Mrs. Adams.
Yes, I'd like to nominate Elaine Moore Wright.
Second. Any other nominations? Mr. Cope?
No nominations.
Mrs. Fox?
No nominations.
Mr. Heverly?
No nominations.
Mr. O'Reilly?
No nominations.
Mr. Rossi?
No nominations.
Mr. Valentine?
No nominations.
Do I have a motion to close nominations?
Motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
This is a roll call vote on Elaine Moore Wright as a member to the Monroe Township Economic Development Commission for a 3-year term. Mrs. Adams?
Yes.
Mr. Cope?
Yes.
Mrs. Fox? Yes. Mr. Heverly?
Yes.
Mr. O'Reilly?
Yes.
Mr. Rossi?
Yes.
Mr. Valentine?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Resolution 21-2025, a resolution appointing alternate number 1 member to the Monroe Township Economic Development Commission for a 1-year term. Motion to approve.
Motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Nominations.
Mrs. Adams?
No nominations.
Mr. Cope?
No nominations.
Mrs. Fox?
No nominations.
Mr. Heverly?
No nominations.
Mr. O'Reilly?
No nominations.
Mr. Rossi?
No nominations.
Mr. Valentine?
No nominations.
Motion to close nominations.
Motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Resolution 22-2025, resolution appointing alternate number 2 member to the Monroe Township Economic Development Commission, 1-year term. Motion to approve.
Motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Nominations, Mrs. Adams?
No nominations.
Mr. Cope?
No nominations.
Mrs. Fox?
No nominations.
Mr. Heverly?
No nominations.
Mr. O'Reilly?
No nominations.
Mr. Rossi?
No nominations.
Mr. Valentine?
No nominations.
Resolution 23-2025, resolution appointing member to the Monroe Township Municipal Utilities Authority, 5-year term expiring January 31, 2030. Motion to approve.
Motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Nominations, Mrs. Adams?
Yes, I'd like to nominate Joseph Marino.
Second. Any other nominations, Mr. Cope?
No nominations.
Mrs. Fox? No nominations. Mr. Heverly?
No nominations.
Mr. O'Reilly?
No nominations.
Mr. Rossi?
No nominations.
Mr. Valentine?
No nominations.
I'm sorry, was there a second on Joe Marino? I'm sorry, what was this? There was a second, I'm sorry. Motion to close?
Motion to close nominations.
Motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Okay, this is a roll call vote on Joseph Marino as member to the Monroe Municipal Utilities Authority for a 5-year term. Mrs. Adams?
Yes.
Mr. Cope?
Yes.
Mrs. Fox? Yes. Mr. Heverly?
Yes.
Mr. O'Reilly?
Yes.
Mr. Rossi?
Yes.
Mr. Valentine?
No.
Motion carries.
Resolution 24-2025, a resolution appointing member to the Monroe Township Open Space Advisory Committee, unexpired term to December 31st, 2025. Motion to approve.
Motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Okay, nominations, Mrs. Adams?
Yes, I'd like to nominate Mark DeFrancesco.
Second. Any other nominations, Mr. Cope?
No nominations.
Mrs. Fox? No nominations. Mr. Heverly?
No nominations.
Mr. O'Reilly?
No nominations.
Mr. Rossi?
No nominations.
Mr. Valentine?
No nominations.
Motion to close nominations.
Motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it.
Okay, this is a roll call vote on Mark DeFrancesco as a member to the Monroe Township Open Space Advisory Committee for an unexpired term. Mrs. Adams?
Yes.
Mr. Cope?
Yes.
Mrs. Fox? Yes. Mr. Heverly?
Yes.
Mr. O'Reilly?
Yes.
Mr. Rossi?
Yes.
Mr. Valentine?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Resolution 25-2025, a resolution appointing member to the Monroe Township Open Space Advisory Committee to a 3-year term. Motion to approve.
Motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it.
Okay, nomination, Mrs. Adams?
Yes, I'd like to nominate Leonard Fritz.
Second. Any other nominations? Mr. Cope?
No nominations.
Mrs. Fox?
No nominations.
Mr. Heatherly?
No nominations.
Mr. Riley?
No nominations.
Mr. Rossi?
No nominations.
Mr. Valentine?
No nominations.
Motion to close?
Motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it.
This is a roll call vote on Leonard Fritz as a member to the Monroe Township Open Space Advisory Committee for a 3-year term. Mrs. Adams?
Yes.
Mr. Cope?
Yes.
Mrs. Fox? Yes. Mr. Heatherly?
Yes.
Mr. Riley?
Yes.
Mr. Rossi?
Yes.
Mr. Valentine?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Resolution 26-2025, a resolution appointing member of council to the Monroe Township Planning Board, Class 3, 1-year term. Motion to approve.
Motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Nominations, Mrs. Adams?
Yes, I'd like to nominate Carol Ann Fox.
I'll second.
Any other nominations? Mr. Cope?
No nominations.
Mrs. Fox?
Same, no nominations.
Mr. Heatherly?
No nominations.
Mr. Riley?
No nominations.
Mr. Rossi?
No nominations.
Mr. Valentine?
No nominations.
Motion to close nominations.
Motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
Okay, this is a roll call vote on Carol Ann Fox as Class 3 member to the Monroe Township Planning Board for a 1-year term. Mrs. Adams?
Yes.
Mr. Cope?
Yes.
Mrs. Fox? I abstain. Mr. Heatherly?
Yes.
Mr. Riley?
Yes.
Mr. Rossi?
Yes.
Mr. Valentine?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Resolution 27-2025, a resolution appointing member to the Monroe Township Zoning Board of Adjustment for a 4-year term. Motion to approve.
Motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Okay, nominations, Mrs. Adams?
Yes, I'd like to nominate Brian Kaminsky.
Second. Any other nominations? Mr. Cope?
No nominations.
Mrs. Fox? No nominations. Mr. Heatherly?
No nominations.
Mr. Riley?
No nominations.
Mr. Rossi?
No nominations.
Mr. Valentine?
No nominations.
Motion to close nominations.
Motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Roll call.
Okay, this is a roll call vote on Brian Comiskey as a member to the Monroe Township Zoning Board of Adjustment for a 4-year term. Mrs. Adams?
Yes.
Mr. Cope?
Yes.
Mrs. Fox? Yes. Mr. Heatherly?
Yes.
Mr. Riley?
Yes.
Mr. Rossi?
Yes.
Mr. Valentine?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Resolution 28-2025, a resolution appointing member to the Monroe Township Zoning Board of Adjustment for a 4-year term. Do I have a motion to approve?
Motion.
Second.
Any, in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Okay, nominations. Mrs. Adams?
Yes, I'd like to nominate Daniel Kozak.
Second. Any other nominations? Mr. Cope?
No nominations.
Mrs. Fox?
No nominations.
Mr. Heatherly?
No nominations.
Mr. Riley?
No nominations.
Mr. Rossi?
No nominations.
Mr. Valentine?
No nominations.
Motion to close nominations.
Motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Roll call.
This is a roll call vote on Dan Kozak as a member to the Monroe Township Zoning Board of Adjustment for a 4-year term. Mrs. Adams?
Yes.
Mr. Cope?
Yes.
Mrs. Fox? Yes. Mr. Heatherly?
Yes.
Mr. Riley?
Yes.
Mr. Rossi?
Yes.
Mr. Valentine?
No.
Motion carries.
Resolution 29-2025, a resolution appointing alternate 1 member to the Monroe Township Zoning Board of Adjustment to a 2-year term. Motion to approve.
Motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Nomination, Mrs. Adams?
Yes, I'd like to nominate Robert McGeehan.
Second. Any other nominations? Mr. Cope?
No nominations.
Mrs. Fox?
No nominations.
Mr. Heatherly?
No nominations.
Mr. Riley?
No nominations.
Mr. Rossi?
No nominations.
Mr. Valentine?
No nominations.
Motion to close for nominations?
Motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it.
This is a roll call vote on Robert McGeehan as an alternate number 1 member to the Monroe Township Zoning Board of Adjustment for a 2-year term. Mrs. Adams?
Yes.
Mr. Cope?
Yes.
Mrs. Fox?
Yes.
Mr. Heverly?
Yes.
Mr. O'Reilly?
Yes.
Mr. Rossi?
Yes.
Mr. Valentine?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Resolution 30-2025, a resolution appointing members of the Ordinance Committee and naming chairperson for the year 2025.
Motion.
Motion?
Motion. Second.
Do you have a name?
Pat O'Reilly.
And motion Denise and second Caroline?
Second, yes.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Ayes have it. Resolution 31-2025, a resolution appointing a municipal housing liaison for the administration of the Council of the Affordable Housing Program for the Township of Monroe. Do I have a motion to approve?
Motion. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it. Resolution 32-2025, a resolution of the Township of Monroe authorizing participation in a shared service agreement with the County of Gloucester for vehicle use. Motion to approve?
Motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Resolution 33-2025, a resolution authorizing the Township of Monroe to enter into a contract with the Solicitor of the Township of Monroe for the year of 2025. Motion to approve?
Motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Resolution 34-2025, a resolution authorizing the Township of Monroe to enter into a contract with the Auditor of the Township of Monroe for the year 2025. Motion to approve?
Motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Resolution 35-2025, a resolution authorizing the Township of Monroe to enter into a contract with municipal engineer and the Township of Monroe for the year of 2025. Motion to approve?
Motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
I abstain. I abstain.
Resolution 36-2025, resolution authorizing the Township of Monroe to enter into a contract with the Public Defender of the Municipal Court of the Township of Monroe for the year 2025. Do I have a motion to approve?
Motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Resolution 35-2025, a resolution authorizing the Township of Monroe to enter into a contract with the prosecutor of the Township of Monroe, or the Municipal Court of the Township of Monroe for the year of 2025. Do I have a motion to approve?
Motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Resolution 38-2025, a resolution authorizing the Township of Monroe to enter into a contract with a Clean as a Whistle Cleaning Services LLC for the Township Cleaning Services for the year 2025. Motion to approve?
Motion.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? I will now turn this portion over to Ordinance Chairperson, Councilman Pat O'Reilly.
For ordinances this evening, should we be opening up to the public first?
It's just a
Questions
motion.
on ordinances?
It's the first reading, so it's a motion.
Okay.
Mhm.
Ordinance 001-2025, calendar year 2025 ordinance to exceed the municipal budget appropriation limits and to establish a cap bank, NJSA 40A:4-45.14. This is for first reading and publication. Can I get a motion?
Motion. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That will conclude ordinances for this evening.
All right, moving on to Council President Liaison Appointments and Boards and Commissions for 2025. For the Board of Education, it's going to be Brian Cope. Board of Health, it's going to be Denise Adams. Economic Development Commission, Denise Adams. Environmental Protection Commission, John Valentine. Historical Society, Al Rossi. GIF Safety Committee, Denise Adams. Library Board, John Valentine. Local Emergency Management Council, Pat O'Reilly. Municipal Alliance Commission, Denise Adams. Municipal Utilities Authority Board, Pat O'Reilly. Open Space Advisory Committee, Al Rossi. Parks and Recreation Commission, Brian Cope. Planning Board, Carol Ann Fox. Rent Leveling Board, John Valentine. Senior Commission, Carol Ann Fox. Sports Advisory Board, Brian Cope. United Veterans, Don Heverly. And Zoning Board of Adjustment, Don Heverly. I need to make one change on that. Excuse me. Economic Development Commission is going to be Al Rossi. Excuse me. Moving on to council appointments for the committees for 2025. Administration, first name I read will be the chair of the committees. Administration is going to be Denise Adams, John Valentine, and Al Rossi. Community Affairs is going to be Al Rossi, Brian Cope, Denise Adams. Education, John Valentine, Brian Cope, Denise Adams. Finance and Municipal Budget Review, Pat O'Reilly, Don Heverly, and Al Rossi. Law and Tax Abatement, Carol Ann Fox, Denise Adams, and Pat O'Reilly. Public Safety, Brian Cope, Al Rossi, Don Heverly. Public Works, Pat O'Reilly, Carol Ann Fox, and John Valentine. And Redevelopment Band / COA, Carol Ann Fox, Denise Adams, and Pat O'Reilly. Includes committees. At this point, we're going to move to the public portion of the meeting. Do I have a motion to open to the public?
Motion.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Anyone from the public wishing to speak this evening? Please state your name and address. Mark?
Sure. Mark Kazach, 987 Sykesville Road. I brought this up last year, I think twice before this board. I think talked to Mr. Riley privately. The old library next to the theater is in a dilapidated state, and the wood is rotting. You can see into the building through the wood, through the joints. I don't know whose responsibility it is, but someone needs to do something before it gets too far along and it has to be torn down. It is on the National Register of Historic Landmarks, so I don't know if it's a federal thing or if the town needs to take action, but something needs to be done before that thing gets really bad. Or worse, before one of the homeless people set it on fire and it's gone. So I just wanted to bring that up once again, have on the record.
Jim, we touched on it. I know we didn't get into the weeds, but I'll follow up. Jim and I will do a follow-up, and we'll get back to you on that.
Okay.
I agree with you.
Yeah, it's bad.
Pat, if you want, I can give a little more update on that.
Yeah, please.
We actually reached out to Triad, Superintendent of Public Works, Mike Devello, who was here earlier. We've been working with Triad to see for some grants for some of our historical buildings. That's not the only one that we did some research on. They are looking into some grant opportunities for that building specifically, but also a couple other ones as well.
So who actually owns the building?
It's a township building. The reading room is the one you're talking about right next to the grant. That's the township building. So, yeah,
So it's on us.
yes, sir. But we're working on a grant, hopefully to try and offset some of those costs, especially because it's got to be done a certain way because it is a historical building.
Right. Okay.
Anyone else from the public wishing to speak? Seeing none, do I have a motion to close?
Motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it. Turn this portion over to our mayor.
Thank you, Council President O'Reilly, Heverly.
Years ago?
Yeah. First, I would like to request that this council have a special council meeting on Wednesday, January 22nd, at 6 p.m. If you choose. This meeting is a much-needed special meeting for a grant application regarding the possibility of obtaining a very large grant to potentially build an amphitheater for this township, similar to what Washington Township has. This will be a tremendous opportunity to add something that I think our residents would love to have within this township for a place to go. I request that council makes a motion to have that special meeting. It's part of the process, it's part of the application, and there is a deadline on that. If you all remember, last year there was a similar thing when we did the large grant opportunity for Finn's Friends Park. We had to do a similar thing there. So I would ask that you full council and take a vote or make a motion to have that special council meeting again. If we could schedule that for Wednesday, January 22nd at 6 p.m., that would be fantastic.
Motion to have a special council meeting on January 22nd at 6 p.m.
Motion. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it.
Thank you. Continuing on, I would like to congratulate all of you, all the new council members, each and every one of you, for being sworn in this evening. Our new council president, Mr. Don Heverly, our council vice president, Ms. Denise Adams, our ordinance chair, once again, Mr. Pat O'Reilly. Congratulations, best of luck to all of you in your new roles. I look forward to working with each and every one of you throughout the year. I also want to say congratulations to our new director of Parks and Recreation. That was a seat that was vacated by now Councilman Brian Cope, but Mr. Joe Bruno, who you all consented to, will do a fantastic job as well, so congratulations to him. Also, congratulations to all those who were either reappointed to a board or just appointed to a board or commission this evening. As most people know, that these are pretty much volunteer positions, with the exception of a few. I think our planning board members and our zoning board members and the MUA board members, I think they get a very small minimal fee of maybe $25 per meeting attended. But we thank you all for volunteering and giving back to our community. It is extremely important to have this involvement from our community, and we cannot thank you all enough for volunteering to be on these boards and commissions and help us operate this township on a day-to-day basis. I am very much looking forward to this upcoming year. We have accomplished so much in the last 2 years, and we're looking to accomplish much more in this coming year. I hope everybody enjoyed their holiday season, and I wish everyone a happy new year, and this will conclude my report. Thank you.
All right. Council comments?
Mrs. Adams?
Yes, I just want to echo what the mayor said. Happy New Year. It was my honor and pleasure to work with the last council, and I look forward to doing great things for Monroe Township with this new council, the appointees, and the administration. So, thank you very much, and that concludes my report.
Thank you. Mr. Cope?
Yes, thank you. I just want to congratulate all the new council members, and I'd like to thank the residents of Monroe Township. I just want to say from the bottom of my heart, thank you to everyone who cast their vote in my favor. Your support means the world to me, and I am deeply honored to represent you. Thank you. That concludes my report.
Thank you. Mrs. Fox?
Yes. Again, congratulations to President, Vice President, Warren's Chair, and all the new members to council. And also thank you to all the residents who voted a second term for myself. I do appreciate that. And as of the last 4 years, I will continue to work as hard for you as I did then. One other thing I do want to say, I have to say thank you to my husband and all the spouses out there, because when you're running a campaign or even being on council or events, it's a lot of time. It's a whole lot of time, and it does take away from the family. And having their support means the world. So thank you, hon, for everything. And I'm looking forward to a great year. And that will conclude my report. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Heverly?
Happy New Year, everybody. First, I want to congratulate the new council people that were elected. Congratulations, Caroline, on your reappointment.
Thank you.
Vice President Denise Adams, congratulations. And I just want to thank you, the council, for giving the faith in me to elect me as president. I promise I won't let you down. It's not a position that I take lightly, and I do consider it a blessing to work for this township and to serve the people of this township, because it's a pretty great place to live. So I appreciate it. I want to wish everybody a very happy new year, a blessed 2025, and look forward to going to work. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. O'Reilly?
Same as everyone else, I want to congratulate all the newly elected officials and re-elected. Congrats. And just looking forward to a great 2025, and working with you all in more detail and rolling up our sleeves. That concludes my report.
Thank you. Mr. Rossi?
I would like to start by thanking Mayor Wolf and his administration for believing in me. I promise I will never take this position for granted, and I'll always do my best to fill the seat with honesty and integrity. I do want to thank everyone who put their trust and faith in me, allowing me to represent you on council. I promise I will always represent the voters to the best of my ability and do what I believe is in the best interest of our residents in town. I'd like to thank my wife and children for all their patience and understanding this election season, as Caroline had mentioned, and in advance for the same patience and understanding that they're going to have to deal with me for the next 4 years. I'd like to congratulate Don and Denise. I wholeheartedly believe that we cannot be guided by two better people. Thank you for that. Lastly, I'd like to congratulate two of my running mates, Carolyn and Brian, along with John. I look forward to being part of this team and working with you all. That concludes my report.
Mr. Valentine?
I'd just like to say Happy New Year, and like to congratulate all the other candidates for the win, and like to thank my constituents for voting for me, and hope I can do just 4 years. That concludes my report.
Thank you. This concludes council's comments for this evening.
All right. Do I have a motion for adjournment?
Motion.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?